Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV, Alternative Media Television. It is Monday, and there's been a lot of talk about President Obama being impeached. Here's an article. It says, President Obama could be impeached, a close White House aide says. A top aide to President Obama said it's possible that Obama could be impeached by the Republican-controlled House of Representatives. House Speaker John Boehner's decision to proceed with a lawsuit against the president has opened the door to the third presidential impeachment in the nation's history. Senior advisor Dan Pfeiffer told reporters at a Friday breakfast sponsored by the Christian Science Monitor. Now, my thoughts on this is, number one, I sure as hell and hope to God that I don't have to report on this political theater, because it is all that this political theater will be. Now, a number of people have called for the impeachment of Obama. People like Sarah Palin. Of course, I would love to see Obama out of the White House, because the acts he's committed against the U.S. Constitution and the American people are illegal. That's just the absolute facts of the situation, whether or not this is immigration, or it's the National Defense Authorization Act, or it's the support of bank bailouts, a continuation of George W. Bush, his support of cronies and Wall Street criminals like John Corzine. All of these are egregious acts committed against the American people, gun control, etc. This anti-constitutional push. But you would be wrong to believe and to think, and I'm going to tell you why, that it would be a good thing that Obama would be impeached. And here is why. This would be playing into the hands of the demons that make up both political parties in this country. Again, this bigger than the bullshit right-left paradigm. The political demons on the left and the political demons on the right. And you'd particularly be playing into the Democratic hands and into the hands of the Democrats. And all we need to do is look at history as a guide to prove this as the case. CNN reported years and years ago, during the wake and in the midst of President Bill Clinton's impeachment, skyrocketing approval ratings among the American people during the impeachment. In fact, the American people loved Bill Clinton even more, and they loved the scandal even more. And that's the point. Americans love a good scandal. They love theater. They love political theater, which is exactly why Bill Clinton's approval ratings not just went higher on the news and the impeachment proceedings, but actually skyrocketed up 10 points to 73%, according to the polls from this historic piece, this article printed in 1998 by CNN. It's exactly why we don't want to play into this hand or play this card. Again, this would be the political paradigm really forcing the people's hand to get into and get involved in a scandal, much like we see these court cases and court trials today where, people are consumed by the scandal. They forget about all the crimes that Obama's actually committed. And then it becomes about the scandal. Again, pay attention to what the right hand is doing while the left hand is, waving for attention on the other side. An impeachment of Obama would not be a good thing. You'd be playing into the political theater and into the political paradigm itself. Here are pictures of Bill Clinton, a president who was loved, I guess, as a liar. People just loved him redefining what is. I mean, the Drudge Report broke this, all of this, Matt Drudge leaking the Monica Lewinsky scandal. It's one of the reasons that the Drudge Report sees millions of visitors a day and is one of the most popular independent websites that kind of started it all in the first place. But Americans love a good scandal. They love being lied to. They love theater. They love political games. So this would just be an invitation. An Obama impeachment would just be an invitation to all of that. It would only rally support around Obama, who has very, very low, all-time low approval ratings based on the latest reports. And it kind of makes you wonder, how is it even possible that the American people will allow Hillary Clinton to potentially run for 2016 candidacy? Here she is defending her husband in the wake of the crisis. Her husband redefining what is, what is means, lying to the people, which is not just impeachable, it's also illegal. It's a felony that should be met with gross punishment, including federal prison. How is it that we can allow these political dynasties, these families, these oligarchies, whether or not it's the Bush or the Clintons, even to run? I mean, how can the American people support a woman that supports a lying scumbag at the White House that made up and is Bill Clinton? You know, no one's saying that, you know, Bill Clinton might not be a fun guy to have a beer with, etc., etc. I'm sure he's got a great personality. He's obviously very charismatic and was very charismatic during his presidential leadership and even arguably today. But he's a liar, and he committed illegal acts at the White House. I mean, do we want to be lied to? Is that the plight of the American people? Do they want these political dynasties and these oligarchies in the White House? And do they want our presidents to commit illegal acts? Whether or not these were illegal acts committed by President Bill Clinton, or these are illegal acts being committed today by Obama. Even Obama's original supporters, people that voted for him, can't believe the kind of egregious acts that have been committed against the United States, our Constitution, and our very liberty. Again, an Obama advisor says odds growing for an impeachment fight. And I sure hope to God that I don't have to report on this political theater. I think the odds of it, personally, are probably unlikely. If it does build steam and the impeachment calls continue, there's a reason for it. Trust me, folks. There'd be a reason. It'd be another smoke screen for something else. Again, to drive support for Obama, you'd be playing into the Democratic hand, and it would be playing in favor of Obama, his administration, and the Democratic Party in general. And the only reason they really want to do this is maybe to embolden support for Hillary's 2016 presidential run. At this point, the Republican Party is dead. What we really need in this country is a purging. We need to purge the corruption at the White House. We need to purge the corruption from both political parties, Republican and Democrat. We need to reform our system. We need to purge not just Washington, D.C., but big corporations and Wall Street that are committing illegal acts. Not to mean that all these people in Washington or all these politicians are evil, or that all these corporations or anyone and everybody on Wall Street is committing illegal criminal acts. But there is a very high level of corruption that we haven't seen, arguably since the founding of this great nation. And it is beyond belief, and it has gone past the point of no return, where our president, whether or not it was Bill Clinton at the time or President Obama, have lost their executive privilege. And there is no reason for the American people to trust anything these people are telling us and anything they are doing at the highest law of the land. You know, we have people like Rand Paul calling for conservatarianism, which to me sounds like a Republican vegetarian. And although he's correct in that we need to redefine a independent party and redefine a third party, I think that what we need to do, I think he's wrong with the branding. I think the marketing is horrible. Again, I think of a conservative vegetarian or a Republican that doesn't eat meat. What we really need to do is embolden the third party. We need to embolden libertarians. And there's nothing wrong with the Libertarian Party. There's nothing wrong with being a constitutionalist. We need to embolden that third party. And again, we need to purge Washington, D.C. today. The Republican Party is dead. Rand Paul is correct, and he's right about this. But Rand Paul also very much a part of the statist agenda. Although there's things that I like that he's done, his filibuster, certain things he stands up for. He's certainly a better politician than most, but he is still a part of the statist machine, and he is really kind of has his head in the clouds. What we need is to purge Washington, D.C. today, and we really need to run on a strong continuation of the Libertarian Party today, and constitutional principles and constitutional government. And I would like to see people like Rand Paul get on board with that, and I think you very likely could. And, you know, it's our only hope in really changing things around here in the United States. You know, we see active physical revolutions in other parts of the world. We see what's happening in the Middle East today. And, you know, one thing that we do have to say about that, and I personally have to say about that, is that the rest of the world has cojones. They have balls. They take physical action, whether or not we saw this in Greece or we see this in the countries that the United States is actively destabilizing, like Ukraine. The American people need to physically take their country back, and they also need to reform its politics, and they need to run on a strong third-party independent platform, libertarian or anything else. If the American people can get behind conservatarianism, well, then that would be great too. Again, get this out everywhere, folks. An Obama impeachment, in my opinion, would not be a good thing. And I just explained to you all the reasons why. You'd be playing into the political theater. It would only embolden Obama's approval ratings, embolden Hillary Clinton going forward, embolden the Democratic Party, and just get the American people caught up in the charade and the smoke and mirror campaign that makes up this corrupt two-party system today. And we need to step outside of that paradigm. We need to take our country back. We need to reform our politics, and we need to charge criminals at the White House in current positions in Washington, D.C. and Wall Street, hold them accountable for their crimes. And that's what's amazing, folks, is not a single thing has changed since 2008. Not a single thing has changed since these scandals. We've just continued the Ponzi scheme, and we've continued the same Kool-Aid drinking masses campaign that we had before that has caused all of these problems and that is hurting average Americans, destroying our liberty and freedom, and stealing our country from our children. Get this out everywhere. Make it viral. I'm Christopher Green, hard hitting it in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor.